Get to work with Royce.
Wow, it's an amazing honor.
What kind of advice was he giving you? You guys were speaking quite a bit. What kind of advice was he giving you on your time?
Oh, it wasn't. Listen, it was training for. It was nothing really secret about it. It was more for the camera, but just doing it first time with me, having a chance to kind of work out with him, move a little bit. Incredible honor. It made my whole trip, made my day. So now I just need to focus on the fight.
Was it your idea or his idea to do this?
It's the UFC, they set it up, but they know he's my idol. So for me, just amazing that he accepted it, and great privilege and great honor for me.
You don't normally work out at these things, so you weren't going to plan to do it until you knew he was here, right?
Sorry?
You don't normally work out at these kind of things, you know, you don't like to do that, and knowing Royce was here, did that make you do it?
Yeah, normally I don't work out, I don't do this stuff, but now it was fun. Like they found a good way to make me move a little bit.
Has he always been somebody that you looked up to, George?
Yes, always. I got bullied when I was young at school by bigger and older peoples. And when I first saw the first UFC, I saw how he was the smallest one, the less intimidating of all, but the smartest. And the way he won the tournament, it really inspired me, and that's why I'm here right now fighting for the title.
How much influence has the Gracie family had on you? Because you've also worked with Renzo, obviously John Danaher's a Renzo black belt. How much influence has the Gracie family as a whole had on your career?
Oh, they're influenced the whole world, not only me, the whole world. Without them, we wouldn't be the sport wouldn't exist.
George, go back and watch the first few UFC events and see how far it's come?
Of course I do. I know the name of most of all the old guy. I respect them, and it was a different era, different time. It was much tougher back then. It was real fight, no time limit. It was no weight class. It was a real thing, you know. It was incredible.
You ever wish you could do that?
I don't know. I would, because when I watched it back in the day, I remember we didn't know what to expect. You know, it was the first time been done recently in modern time. Actually, I was watching the tape back then. I thought maybe someone could die, and you know, we didn't know. It was unknown, and these guys had the heart of. They were so courageous of stepping in the cage at that time because it was unknown. They were the pioneer. I don't think I would have the courage to do that at that time. It was too much unknown. I wouldn't have the courage. I would probably have stayed at school.
What was it then that actually provoked you to get into fighting with the UFC and the Octagon? Was there a particular moment that you saw that really intrigued you?
One time I was a teenager, maybe 15 years old approximately. I was at my friend's house. It was like a little barbecue with his family, and he rented tape at the UFC with VCR tape back in the day. And so I watched it, and right away I got inspired when I saw that man run the tournament, and really it makes sense to me, and from there I decided to focus on that, and I became obsessed of doing this.
You mentioned you're not a fan of like rule limits and stuff like that. Are there any other rules about the early days that you'd like to see implemented today?
Yes, I believe, that's what I believe in my sport. I believe we put the round to mimic boxing, to make the sport more accepted. But if you really want to see who's the best fighter, I believe you should just let them fight. Maybe a 15-minute fight without round, or a 25-minute fight without, you know. And because sometimes when you stop the fight, it makes it stop the momentum, and it could change the result of the fight. I believe if you want to see who's the best fighter, you just let them fight. So for me, I believe the sport will be more legit, more real if it wouldn't be any round. Maybe the scoring system would be based on every 5 minutes. You know, they judge according to every 5 minutes of the fight, but I believe this should change. It shouldn't be around. I believe it might happen in the future. Right? That's what I believe, you know. And most of fighters actually agree with me. Most of them, if you ask, they believe that it's a fight. It should be a fight. If you want to see who's the best man, let them fight. Don't break the fight in the middle of it because of, you know, to back in the corner. It's supposed to be a fight. You want to see who's the best man, let them fight.
What about going back to the 198 man format, George?
I'm sorry?
What about going back to the 198 man format?
The one?
The 198 man format.
Oh yeah, but that is different. That was because this injury could occur, and sometimes matchup can affect. You know, it's interesting to a spectator point of view, But to see who's the real best fighter, sometimes one injury can occur and he cannot be 100% for his next fight. So I believe the 8-man tournament could work, but not on the same day. That's only what I believe, because I know I compete in karate, in wrestling, in different sport, boxing. Sometimes you have many fights, and I believe it's different because you have a tough fight in the beginning, and you fight a much tougher opponent than another one, than another guy. Then you have to fight and could interfere in the result, you know.
Did you attend a UFC before you fought for them?
I'm sorry?
Did you ever attend a UFC as a fan before you fought for them?
Yes, I did.
Well, do you remember which one?
I did attempt. My first UFC was here in Vegas. It was Tito Ortiz against Ken Shamrock. And I attempted, and I walked into the octagon the night before the fight. I came with David Loiseau, one of my friends who actually fought in UFC. He fought for a world title. We were aspiring one day to fight in UFC. And I remember the day before the fight, we walked and we found our way to get into the MGM Grand. And we found a way to get into the cage, and we were doing shadow boxing in the cage. Nobody was there to watch the cage. I couldn't believe it. Like, I could take a knife and rip it. You know, he could have canceled the whole show, but no, it was just crazy. Like, I found a way to, like, it was no security. I just got in the cage and shadow boxing. I had a workout with my friend, and I was a fan. I was not a fighter of UFC back then.
George, you could set a number of records with a win in this fight. Most wins in title bouts. You could also set a record for most fight time in the UFC. Do those things matter to you now, or are those the kind of things you'll look back to later? Is it right now just beating the #1 contender?
I will look back. Right now I'm just focusing on Johnny Hendricks. I have a toughest fight in my career. I'm focusing on only one thing, and for sure later, you know, one day I'll get old and whatever, you know. Gonna look back at statistic. Yeah, I like statistic. It's gonna be fun, you know. But right now I'm not focusing on that. I'm focusing on be the best I can be and do the best I can do.
How do you feel about being the guy who was chosen by the UFC to headline this 20th anniversary event?
I feel very privileged, honored to have this, and it's been 20 years and just grateful, you know. I'm very happy. UFC did incredible, amazing for me. They took care of me, and I'm so happy here. Treated like a king, you know.
And your first fight in the UFC was 10 years ago. What are your memories of that first fight?
Oh God, I was so nervous. You want a little story or something? All right. At my first fight in UFC, I was fighting Caro Parisian. So I was, you know, fighting in the prelims, and they put us in a little locker room, maybe the size half of the mat. And back then I was with 3 guys. And when we got into the room was very narrow. It was long but very narrow. So we didn't have enough space to work out. So I decided to take all the chair, throw it out of the room. And still it was very tiny to work out. So I was not working out. I was like waiting for the time to get ready. And out of a sudden, I heard a noise in the hallway, like a Third World War just break out. And guess who's got into the room? It was what is his name? The big guy that fought Frank Mir. It was Wes Sim.
Oh, Wes Sim.
It was Wes Sim, Kevin Randleman, Mark Coleman, the 2 of my idol that I saw fighting before. Goldberg, Wes Sim father, who's actually taller than Wes Sim, and Rico Rodriguez. So we didn't have enough space. So with those giants, I was like, oh my goodness, I couldn't speak English at that time. I was very intimidated. It was my first time in UFC, you know. And this guy goes, Mark Coleman get in the room. He goes like, who are you? I'm like, hi, I'm St-Pierre. And he goes like, who are you going up against? I'm like, Caro Parisian. And he go look at me like this. He's like, you a wrestler? He's like, yeah, I wrestle. He's like, yeah, I'm rooting for you. And then they all, that pandemonium breaks out in the locker room. Rah! And they get so agitated. I was like, oh my God. I was scared, you know. So finally, when time come for me to warm up, you know, I remember these guys were screaming at me. I was young, you know, I didn't understand what they say, but there was a lot of F word that I cannot say because I'm in the middle of it. It was like, you got F and I couldn't speak English. I was like, they tried to motivate me, so but they were scaring me instead. So I didn't have enough room to warm up because our room was so tiny. So I couldn't move. They were like more agitated than me, and I was the one that was fighting. So they were going back and forth and hitting the walls, and I was like, my God, that's crazy. So I had to go in the bathroom, do some jumping jack, and then Bert walks in, explode in the room like, ready to roll, and then I step up and I fought. That was my first experience in UFC.
Have you seen Mark Coleman since then?
Yeah, I did see him a couple times. He's an incredible guy. He's a very nice guy. It's just funny, you see one of your idols on TV and you don't know what how they are, but then you see him in real life. It's like it's funny, you know. It was a great experience. You know, they pumped me up after I look back at this, and it's a funny story to tell, and I had a great time.
George, it seems like every time we see you fight, the guy you're fighting is maybe this is the guy that's going to finally be able to take you out.
It's normal. It's the #1 contender. They always put the best guy. It's, you know, we don't have optional title defense. But it's always the best guy that we're fighting, and I'm ready for that. That's
where does Johnny fall in your mind compared to guys that you fought in the last 4 or 5 fights?
Johnny is unique. He has a different style than all the guys that I've fought. He causes a certain problem that the other guy doesn't cause, but he has his own. I'm gonna cause him his own problem as well. So it's gonna be a tough fight, you know.
Is the conversation that maybe he's the guy to finally beat you, is that warranted, or is that hype on the media's part, on the UFC's part?
No, it's true. It's true. Every guy is dangerous, you know, and I cannot take nobody lightly. It's important for me that I go there and I perform the best I could be.
Guys, we're going to take a couple questions in French, so I know we have a couple French reporters here. Go ahead and fire away.
In French? Yeah, in French. Oh, can we have some space or stuff like that?
Georges, j'aimerais ça que tu reviennes. Christophe m'avait parlé, Milo m'a parlé la semaine dernière. Qui aimerait ça, le switch pour moi.
No, I know, but...
I understand.
Give me the mic. T'es-tu bon là, Renaud?
Christophe me disait que, idéalement, il aimerait ça de pouvoir finir ton adversaire samedi soir et prendre ta retraite dans l'octogone puis qu'on se mette ta gloire. Qu'est-ce que tu penses?
Mais écoute, c'est sûr que les personnes, il y a beaucoup de gens qui m'aiment, que moi aussi j'aime. Leur but, le but en tant qu'athlète, surtout en sport de combat, parce qu'on prend des risques à chaque fois qu'on monte dans l'octogone, c'est de finir au sommet de sa carrière. De finir avec une victoire, de finir toujours au sommet de sa carrière. C'est sûr que à chaque fois qu'on embarque, on a un risque. Donc c'est sûr, à chaque fois que je prends un combat, j'ai un risque. Mais c'est à moi de décider. C'est sûr que les personnes qui m'aiment, comme ma mère, tout ça, elle aime pas trop ça me voir dans l'octogone. Ils veulent que je m'artire, mais celui qui va décider vraiment, c'est moi. Et puis, je prends un combat à la fois. Ça fait trois combats que les gens me posent la même question, qui pensent que je vais m'artirer. Donc, je prends un combat à la fois, puis maintenant, je suis vraiment content, très motivé, puis j'ai pas perdu le plaisir à faire ce que je fais.
Georges, moi, je t'ai vu avant d'autres combats. Il me semble que tu étais moins agréable à fréquenter.
Oui, ça aussi, j'avais des adversaires qui étaient moins agréables à fréquenter aussi. Alors, ça change des fois l'ambiance. Mais là, j'ai fait le meilleur camp d'entraînement de ma vie. J'ai pas de blessure, rien. J'étais à 100%. Alors, je me sens vraiment très bien mentalement et physiquement.
Est-ce que l'opinion de Christophe pèse plus dans la balance que l'opinion de certaines autres personnes, étant donné que c'est ton mentor, il te suit depuis longtemps, il t'a beaucoup aidé?
C'est sûr que Christophe, c'est mon mentor. C'est lui qui a la plus grosse influence sur moi. Mais ça reste qu'on va voir après le combat. Puis j'adore ce que je fais. Tu peux pas vivre avec une retenue, avec te dire j'aurais donc dû faire ça. On vit tous seulement qu'une fois. Et des fois, on vit qu'une seule fois. Alors pour moi, c'est important d'aller au bout de ce que je veux faire.
Est-ce que tu es genre à le faire dans l'octogone ou tu ferais plus genre à prendre ton temps pour réfléchir?
Peut-être, je prendrai mon temps, mais tu sais, je suis pas. Regarde, je me concentre sur Johnny Hendricks. Je me prépare pour mon prochain combat, pas pour ma retraite.
Peux-tu nous parler un petit peu de ce que tu viens de vivre aujourd'hui? S'entraîner avec Royce Gracie, c'est une de tes idoles. Comment tout ça est arrivé? Comment tout ça s'est mis en place?
Royce Gracie, c'est mon idole. C'est mon idole. Il n'y a pas plus grand idole que Royce Gracie pour le sport que je fais. En fait, pour moi, c'était un honneur. Normalement, les entraînements publics, je fais rien. Je fais juste... On s'assoit et on parle de philosophie avec mes coachs. Mais là, c'était vraiment différent. L'UFC, je pense qu'ils ont voulu me faire bouger un peu, puis parce qu'ils n'aiment pas ça, ils veulent tout le temps que je bouge. Je dis, ça sert à rien. C'est pas... Si maintenant j'ai une compétition de bench press, c'est pas parce que je vais lever ma charge maximum la journée d'avant que je vais être plus fort le lendemain. Au contraire, je peux me raquer, tu sais. Donc, je fais pas grand-chose, puis ils voulaient me faire bouger, donc ils ont trouvé le bon moyen. Ils sont intelligents, tu sais, ils m'ont bien eu. Mais bon, je suis content de l'avoir fait.
Sinon, tu parles surtout souvent de la peur avant les combats, de peur de décevoir entre autre chose. Est-ce que quand on rentre dans l'octogone avec un cogneur, la peur est différente?
Non, la peur est toujours la même. C'est de mesurer les risques, mais non, la peur est la même. Mais quand je rentre dans l'octogone, la peur est pas mal partie. J'ai de la peur, je suis conscient de ce qui arrive, mais c'est ce même sentiment-là qui me garde plus sharp.
En ce moment, est-ce que tu le donnes?
Oui, j'ai peur. J'ai pas peur de mon adversaire, j'ai peur d'échouer. J'ai peur d'avoir fait tout ce travail-là, parce que j'ai travaillé très fort, que tout ce que j'ai fait soit fait pour rien. Parce que dans mon sport, tu peux pas arriver deuxième. Si tu arrives deuxième, c'est parce que tu as perdu. C'est numéro 1, premier, ou il n'y a rien d'autre. Alors pour moi, c'est comme ça que je pense.
Dis-moi, as-tu travaillé spécifiquement pour un gaucher des fractures?
Oui, j'ai travaillé beaucoup en mesure des qualités de mon adversaire. Donc j'ai travaillé beaucoup en boxe aussi avec Stéphane Larouche et j'ai fait beaucoup de sparring avec un boxeur qui s'appelle Renan Saint-Just, qui est très bon, c'est un bon cogneur. Et, Adonis, c'est un de mes amis, il m'a beaucoup conseillé aussi. J'ai eu des sparring partners aussi qui sont des États-Unis dans mon sport pour faire un entraînement plus spécifique à ce qu'il va y avoir samedi.
Pour les derniers jours, tu as eu aussi un message de motivation de C.T. Fletcher. C'est assez spectaculaire. Est-ce que c'est un autre... est-ce que c'est encore le UFC qui a créé ça aussi?
C'est parce que C.T. Fletcher, c'est un powerlifter. C'est quelqu'un qui est très bon côté... Il motive beaucoup. Puis je suis un grand fan de lui. Et j'aime beaucoup regarder ses vidéos. Il a raison de la façon qu'il voit son entraînement. Que ce qu'on fait les deux, c'est très similaire au point de vue mental. Alors, souvent, quand les gens du UFC étaient là pour me filmer durant la promotion, j'écoutais des vidéos de motivation de St-Pierre, puis on faisait des blagues avec ça. Donc, ils ont vu que j'écoutais ça, ils ont essayé de le faire venir à Montréal. Il n'a pas pu venir, malheureusement. Donc, ils m'ont envoyé une vidéo pour me motiver. C'était très gentil de leur part.
Il y a un autre propos de Christophe. Tu penses que tu peux finir Hendricks?
Bien sûr! Bien sûr, c'est pour ça que je suis là. Puis, je vais travailler fort pour le finir. Je vais être très opportuniste, puis je vais sauter sur l'occasion quand ça va se présenter.
Tu as des records à t'apporter ce week-end, dont 2 assez prestigieux. 19e victoire dans l'octogone du UFC, ça sera un record. Une 12e victoire en combat de championnat, ça sera un record aussi. Est-ce que c'est quelque chose qui te motive encore plus, qui est important pour toi? Tu dis souvent que tu veux te retirer au sommet, être le meilleur de tous les temps.
Je veux me retirer au sommet de ma forme, c'est ce que tout le monde veut, mais pour moi, je pense pas au record. Je pense seulement à mon combat. Puis les records, c'est un jour quand je vais être vieux, je vais regarder je vais regarder les statistiques peut-être sur ma carrière, mais c'est pas fini, il va en avoir d'autres statistiques.
Après toi, c'est quand est-ce qu'on
il me reste beaucoup d'années avant d'être vieux, je pense. Mais vieux, ça dépend, c'est mentalement que ça se passe, c'est pas seulement physiquement, ça peut être... c'est mentalement, c'est le goût, si tu as le goût de le faire, tu continues jusqu'à temps que ça te rend heureux.
Quand tu as commencé, à quel âge tu prévoyais te retirer? Est-ce que tu avais un plan déjà fixé d'avance?
J'avais pas vraiment d'âge auquel je pensais me retirer. On voit Bernard Hopkins, et là c'est une exception, mais il y a beaucoup d'athlètes qui sont jusqu'à dans la quarantaine. C'est aussi mental. Je pense que c'est quand tu n'as plus le goût, tu arrêtes. Si tu essaies de continuer quand tu n'as plus le goût, mais là, ça peut te poser des problèmes.
Dis-moi, le fait de ne pas avoir eu de blessure à l'entraînement, c'est-tu un signe que tu as mieux envisagé ça, mieux baisser tes efforts ou quoi?
Oui, j'ai pas eu vraiment de blessure. Je suis très en santé en tant qu'athlète. J'ai eu une grosse blessure qui est un ligament croisé, mais ça arrive souvent. Puis là, je me sens comme si ça serait jamais arrivé. Donc, mon corps est à 100%. J'ai pas aucun bobo, rien de ça.
Est-ce que tu as choisi ta chanson pour entrer sur le ring? Est-ce que c'est dans l'octogone? Est-ce que c'est différent?
Oui, j'ai quoi? C'est un artiste qui s'appelle Karis. Et K-A-A-R-I-S.
Un rap encore?
C'est du rap et c'est Bouchon de Liège. Les paroles sont pas super, en tout cas. Mettez pas ça. C'est de la musique très motivante pour moi. Moi, j'écoute ça, ça me motive. J'aime beaucoup le hip-hop, le reggae.
Merci, Georges. Très gentil.
Très gentil, Georges.
Georges, as-tu des amis ou des parents qui vont